What is happening, y'all? Welcome on back. Finally we have fixed our name. We are now Cowboy and not Cownoi, which will probably be the most commented thing I ever see on a video. I don't think it'll ever stop. But anyway, before we get going, now is a good time to visit the Spirit Tuner. Now, we have a couple different spirits. Of course, we have the Lone Wolves. The Wolves are pretty good. They can put out a lot of damage, a lot of stagger. They're not very tanky, though. The Jellyfish, on the other hand, is a little bit tankier because it floats, so it has a unique hitbox. One thing that's nice about this is it does poison the target, which can be nice. But my recommendation is going to be the Skeletal Militiamen. And the reason for that is these dudes will keep coming back over and over and over and over again. You know, something kills it, unless it does a follow-up attack to hit them after they're down, they'll just keep coming back. So I would suggest that if you are a caster, we're going to be getting you some much better ones in just a little bit. But either way, let's warp on out, and we have quite a few things we need to hit. So let's start from over here. Go to there first. Let's start from Aguil Lake South. I also leveled up since the last episode, popped a couple rune consumables, so currently stats, we're up to 18 vigor. Right now I'm really going to focus on vigor. I'm going to get vigor up to about 20, and then I'll probably get stamina up to about 20, and then from that point I'll probably just take my vigor all the way up to around 40, which is the first soft cap of it. We're gonna go snag all the stuff that's out west. That NPC from before, like I said, here he is at the camp. Make sure to come back here later and get the katana. If you want, you can talk to him now. He has some dialogue about the dragon, now that we've killed the dragon. You know, there's a church out to the west. That's all he tells us about, but we can go get that church pretty easily. When you run through your line, it'll auto-fade off the map, so you can see it's already gone. Now definitely make sure to spend runes, pop rune items if you need to before we do this, because we're gonna try and jump down, and this area is deceptive with some of the falls. Took me quite a bit to figure out a safe route to get down there. A lot of times I would run, and I would just die. And then I would be sad. Okay. Made it down to the bottom. Right over here, we're going to get, dude's going to show up. Oh, he's already here. Good. Makes things easy. Want to kill him, and you'll get Ashavor Gravitas. It's really not that good. It summons up a tornado type thing. There's a lift right there we can take to get back up, but we're not worried about that. First, we need to dip on inside. Remember exactly, I think it's right here. Put on the lantern. Had a lot of people asking about this thing. That's why I'm trying to get to it early in the series. There we go. Haladrake Talisman. That's the start tutorial cave, so I didn't even want to turn around and show off that loot just because I knew the first episode people would be like, "How do I get that loot?" And I'm like, "Nope, we're not gonna talk about that. Not gonna show them. They won't know." Anyway, we need to do Stormfoot Catacombs, some stuff on the beach, Coastal Cave, whole bunch of things we're gonna do. So let's we'll go this way. No, is that right? Second. No, I'm gonna go there first and then out there. Should probably share my maps. I have screenshots that I pulled from my higher level save, and it has like everything basically, but I suppose if you haven't been to those places, it doesn't really help to know exactly where they are. Kind of spoilery territory. So this catacomb will have skeletons. because of that, you may be better off just using the holy weapon. We had the... Where did he go? There you are. Sacred Morning Star. Actually, no, is that... No, that's an imp. No, never mind. We're gonna keep what we got. It's the southern regions that have the imps, or that have the other things. Some root resin. On the lantern. I really wish there was a way to, like, have the lantern auto-equip anytime I enter a dark zone. This is the main door to the boss. We need to get up there to have it unlocked. There's a couple different guys. Just run through for now, and then they should kind of gather up down here. These imps are actually a pretty decent summon choice as well. I know I didn't recommend them at the start, and that's because we can just buy them from a merchant a little later on. But the imps will do bleed damage as well as throwing out those fire pots and stuff, so they do a pretty good job, I feel. Do I have any throwing knives yet? Let's see. Oh, you little shit. Crafting. I can do arrows. Okay, good. It's like I'm gonna have to go hunt after some, hunt down some animals to get bones. Right here. Now these fire traps, as soon as they stop, you can deactivate them by just hitting them, so. That. These are fun. These are the earthy boys. There's a bunch of those. It's like a hello, there's an I'm sorry. If you get the top secret game ending, you get one that says get good. I'm kidding, that doesn't actually happen. So we'll lower that, and there are a bunch of these dudes, as you can see. So just go on and throw some of your knives. Make them come down. Head on up here. Couple more that we're gonna kill. Oops. Die right there. We got the Wandering Nobles, which, to be honest, they're not that good. You'd think like, oh, hey, it summons up like 5 things. You know, that sounds good. They can be a good distraction, but sadly, they get obliterated way too fast. Whereas the 3 wolves that you get, at the very least, they kind of jump around and stuff, so they're pretty decent. I really like the skeletons just because they keep coming up, and we're gonna showcase that against this boss in just a second. You'll have a chance to see our skellies in action. Now for one of the most annoying bosses, in my opinion, the Erdtree Burial Watchdogs. These things just kind of move and attack very slowly. They're very, very awkward animations. They're very stiff, and I think it makes them one of the more difficult bosses to try and dodge. But what's nice is even if one of these skeletons die, I'm waiting for a skeleton to die just so y'all can see. Gonna get some good boots in. So you can see one skeleton is down. Now watch this. See how it has that aura? You think you have won, but they come back to life. Now, right there, that will kill it. But that's what has to happen, is a boss has to hit the skeleton while it is resurrecting. And most of the time, that's not going to happen. You know, this boss just happened to be doing an AoE. But majority of the time, a boss doesn't, like, it doesn't understand the concept of attacking again to make sure a target's dead. And that's what makes them such an absolutely fantastic summon. Especially for builds like this, where we don't have a heavy investment in that stat, you know? For a quality build, for strength decks, like, literally, we just need something to distract, you know? With caster builds, I think your summon is more important, because it's effectively like your frontline tank while you sit back and cast, unless you're going to try and roll and dodge stuff, which usually doesn't work out all that well. But for a build like mine, man, I ain't worried about that, you know? Whether or not my summon does a lot of damage doesn't matter. I am the damage. The summon is just there. Now I'm going to point this thing out. This isn't going to do anything because the dungeon's done, but... there we go. Those of you that want to explore a little bit around the world on your own, you will find these things occasionally, and when you interact with them, it's going to like point a laser in a general direction. The direction that it points that laser, it will always lead to a... it's going to always... this is what I got right there, yeah. It's going to always lead to a catacomb or a dungeon or something in the nearby vicinity. So, just something to be aware of. I'm going to be guiding all of y'all to them anyway, so it's not like it really matters, but, you know, I like to try and be informative. So we're not really worried about giants. They are worth 1,000 runes a pop, though, so those of you that are playing quality and strength should be fine for this. All you got to do is 2 heavies that are charged up. 2 charged heavies, almost 100% of the time, are going to knock these guys down and open them up real quick. From the testing I've done, smaller weapons, sometimes you'll get that off, but bigger weapons, you'll always get that off. So, I know giants seem intimidating. Well, yes, technically they're trolls, excuse me. I know. I gotta stop calling them giants now, even though they are gigantic, or someone's gonna berate me for it. We have another one of our little invisible balls of obnoxiousness. So now I got a weapon that has a wider sweep. Can't possibly get away this time. And it got away. Alright, let me stay right here. This seems like a good spot along the path to stay. A little bit later on, we're actually going to have an item we can use to just instantly kill these things 100% of the time. It just costs a little bit of FP and it does a big AoE. There we go. Ash of War, Stamp Sweep, which isn't even that good. Over here, there's a campfire. We can just go kill the guy, because... You know, what's out there, though? What about out there? Kill birds to get feathers. Ooh. I love the concept of that. Imagine you're just like sitting there by the fire, grilling up some fish, and some dude just jumping out of nowhere and smacking you in the head with a giant curved sword. It's always really funny to me to think about what life must be like in the world of Elden Ring for an NPC or an enemy. You know, like, how do their days go? So the land octopus, these things can be very dangerous if you're not careful. I was just jump attacks. Oh boy, he jumped. He heard me, and he said, "You jump attacks, huh?" You need to hit the face. Now, running up and attacking like this, we're actually cutting off some of the tentacles, you'll notice. But hitting it right there on the snapper will open it up for a critical, and that will usually kill it outright. These things will pretty much always drop a land octopus ovary. I haven't found any particular use for them, but I also haven't spent a lot of time doing crafting, so you know, that's more my fault. A lot of the crafting stuff, just you find it out in the world, or you get it from killing certain animals, and for the most part, I've been like, woo, stuff to do! I have almost no crafting. Give me your goodies. See, now that guy's mistake was he decided to roar. Now there's a cave right here. We're coming back to it. Before that, we're going over here. another merchant.
What do you want any?
And this guy has the short bow. Now, in general, you're going to want either a short bow or a long bow. I'm also going to probably get a shield. No, this doesn't have 100 physical. Fire bow and arrows. Get that. You don't need this. I've already, you know, we don't need that stuff. I can tell you about all that. Either a short bow or long bow is going to be good for sniping, especially if you're a melee build. You're going to want something. Now, the short bow can obviously fire off arrows in rapid succession. The long bow is going to be better for sniping, but you know, take your pick. I'm probably going to go for a long bow. We don't need one immediately, but you are going to want one because there are areas later in the game where having the ability to pop something from range is going to be very beneficial. Also, I mean, with a quality build, there's no reason not to, you know? Like, we will have the stats to use pretty much any bow or great bow that we come across, so having access to a range option is very helpful. Okay, we are just barely short. I'm not worried about this early content, so I'm not gonna eat up a rune to get that level. We'll just get it in a little bit. These guys don't really, like, do much. There's one that's... there it is. That's the biggest of the bunch. This is why when everyone's like, oh my god, magic's so OP, like, oh, sword hit stuff and stuff die. What's this? Old Knight Esteban, huh? I've never even noticed him here. We're not gonna need him, but it's cool that he's there. I'm gonna summon our militiamen, get back our ceruleans, and there's two big old things we're gonna kill here. The first is right here around the corner. Woo. Now we have the tailoring tools, taking fashion souls to a whole new level. What's weird is these guys are demi-humans, but they make the Sekiro monkey gel. Now don't return to entrance. We aren't done with this yet. Keep going through. And if you look, that's the cave we came in. We're now over on an island. Now this is the Island of Dragon Communion. There are two of these, but this one will have the starter spells. And if you've been following the series and you've already killed the dragon, you can actually trade for one right now. Now, in general, I will say that, why is it not? I have the heart. Why are you not working? That is, oh, you know what? Maybe I gotta rest? I don't know. We killed the dragon. Why won't you let me trade it? This is odd. This is very odd indeed. Let's try resting. Because you literally trade in the dragon heart and you get spells, but for some reason it doesn't want to trigger for me right now. There we go. So with the dragon heart, now, full disclosure, there are multiple dragon spells in the game. I'm not going to spoil all of them just yet, but consider these like the starter abilities. Now, dragon spells are going to need both faith and arcane to use. As a reminder, the damage is going to be based on whatever your incant scaling is. So if you have the Dragon Communion Catalyst, which scales off of Arcane, You know, the higher your arcane, the stronger the spells. If you have a faith scaling catalyst, the higher your faith, the stronger the spells. Just to give a brief breakdown though, this one literally spews fire. It's channeled. You can hold it down to extend the duration. Very dirty in PvP, very expensive in PvE. It'll drain your whole bar. Dragon Claw is a mid-range AoE. It gets a follow-up, so you can do 2 slams with this. It does pretty good damage, but it's definitely kind of risky to get off, considering it only hits, I'd say, maybe 5 yards in front of you. Dragon Maw is similar to this, except you just do a bite. It's really strong, but it's also very tricky to get this off. Most things aren't just going to stand there while you transform into a dragon and bite their face. So I would personally recommend either Dragon Fire or Dragon Claw. Dragon Maw, though, just doesn't really get it done for me. But obviously this is all stuff for incant builds. If you're a sorcerer or a quality or any of that, none of this stuff is really relevant. Come on. Up, up, up. Alright. Get the Exalted Flesh from up top. Up, down. Here, the shiny ball. Where's he at? Somber Smithing Stone. Let me just check my notes real fast. I think that's it. Storm Beach, Coastal Cave for Tailoring Kit. Yes, okay, so this is a good time. At this point, we've covered all the stuff that's in these areas. There's some stuff up here that we can kill, and we're going to go work on that. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go take out Margit the Fell. Now, Margit is the first real boss of the game. And you could wait till the end of this video to go take him out, but honestly, as strong as we already are at this point, with having gotten some upgrades in our weapon, this guy's going to get obliterated. And the reason that's nice to get him out of the way now is I'd rather kill him before we go after the night bosses that I have in the video. Run past these guys. Early on, for those of you that are just playing, this is also a really good area to farm up rune arcs. Now, rune arcs are like embers in this game, and later, so if you pop a rune arc right now, which I don't believe we have any, no, but if you did, it would give you a slight health boost. Now, later on, as we beat the main bosses, we're going to be able to equip something known as Great Runes. And what's cool is these work really similar to how Embers did in Dark Souls 3, but when you pop a rune arc, you're going to get a buff based on what Great Rune you have equipped. So one rune is going to level up all of your stats. One of them will level up just health, endurance, and equipment weight, or health, stamina, and equipment weight. One of them is going to you know, give you a massive health boost. One of them is going to help people that are here in co-op. So there's a bunch of different effects they can do, which is really cool. But to farm those, the best route by far is going to be PvP or co-op. Now there's a summon sign here for Sorcerer Ragier. I would suggest bringing him in. I don't know if you have to summon them for quests, but it certainly doesn't hurt. If you want, you can of course go really hard on guys by using fire grease on this weapon. We're not going to need it. All we're going to do is just Wondrous Physic, and then we're going to beat this dude into the dirt. So he comes down, he's all angry. You can actually parry a couple of his attacks as well, so... But this couple charged heavies. Before I kill him, let me actually talk about some of his attacks. So the blue hammer, that is just kind of waiting. That attack that you see him doing right now, Sorcerer Ragier, that's probably the most dangerous one. You can parry that, but it's not a single parry. You have to hit 2 of his attacks to get the parries off. If he attacks you, just back up a little bit. Our summon is going to largely carry this. And to be honest, it's even easier if we just use our Spirit Ashes. But Killingham is going to get us the Talisman Pouch. I'll go ahead and touch this Grace. Just in general, I think it's important to mention at this point that when you bring summons in, even NPC summons, it's going to increase the health of a boss. So very similar to how like a monster has more health in Monster Hunter with more people, the same is true in Elden Ring and Souls games. So because of that, in general, the best strategy by far is going to be fighting the boss and using your spirit summons so it has its one-player scaled health, because its health does not change while using those. However, there are certain NPCs that I want to summon because it relates to a quest line, such as this one right here. This we'll meet him a little bit later. I don't think we had to summon him there, but I'm not 100%, so we went ahead and just did it anyway. Obviously, we got a bunch of stuff, but we're gonna go do some more stuff. Let me warp from here. We killed Margit. Let's go back to Stormhouse Shack. With Margit dead, I think that extra seed is now waiting for us. Yes, it is. So we'll grab this. How many seeds do we got? We have 3 seeds and a Sacred Tear. So let's go on and pump some stuff into our flask. See, and this is why I said it's not worth worrying about using that seed early. I mean, like already we're at what? You know, we're still basically at the start of the game. We have 6 heals. We have 7 flasks total, 6 of which are healing, and they're at +4. Like, that's a lot of stuff, man. That's a lot of stuff. So I want to go up into here. There's a couple unique things on this hill. Is it nighttime? Well, we can run around at night. It doesn't. Now we're kitted out to run at night, so it's not as dangerous as it was before. But there's a couple different things we're gonna do. Still, we're going to get some stuff by the jellyfish. We're going to get our PvP item. We have 2 more dungeons and then 2 night bosses. So, oh man, 7 minutes. Maybe we should. Well, 2 bosses, 2 dungeons. Yeah, I think we should wrap here. We should. We got Margit that fell down. That's a good stopping point. So, next episode we're gonna finish up the central Limgrave. So we have some stuff through here. There's a couple different things out in this area we can do. Up here we're going to do something. There's 2 different places we can hit over here. And then 2 nighttime bosses that we also need to take down. And then after that, just to give you all an idea of our progression, the episode following that, we're going to head down into the Weeping Peninsula, aka Southern Limgrave. We'll knock everything down here out. We'll then go to Castle Lorne, which is down here, which is kind of like a mini legacy dungeon. And then finally, we will make our way up here into Stormvale Castle. So, a lot of content to come, a lot of places to cover, but I feel like we're making good time. I feel like we're doing good, and hopefully y'all are cruising through the game the same way we are. So, stay tuned. We'll have more coming your way soon, and I will see you all then.